Well, hello there. Welcome back to my little corner of the internet. My name's Beth, and I hope you are doing fantastic today. Yeah, I know it's the 16th of April, and I'm just now doing my March recap, but you know I've been very busy, and better late than never, right? So I like to think that I've had a lot of time to ruminate on these books and really think about them. Have I? I don't know. But we are here today to talk about the books that I read in March and pick one for my Battle of the Books bracket in my reading journal. Why waste time? Let's just get into it. And like usual, I am going to do my best to keep these reviews spoiler-free, but it is very difficult because I just want to talk and gush about these books. So for pretty much the entire... The garbage truck is here. He knocked my garbage can over. What an asshole. Where was I? For almost the entirety of our relationship, anytime I'd finish a book, my husband would ask if I'm now going to read Dies the Fire by S.M. Sterling. And I always told him I'll get around to it. He has quite a few of his favorites from growing up that he always asks me if I'm going to read. And I will get around to it. I promise. But it's taken me 10 years. But I read S.M. Sterling's Dies the Fire finally. I did post this as a short. I recorded it as a TikTok whenever I filled out my book journal back last month. I really psych myself out as to recording those. I should have recorded them for One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, but I didn't because I don't know. My brain's like, no, don't make it content. Just enjoy your book journal. But I want to make it content. It's a constant struggle. So Dies the Fire is book 1 of 15 of the Emberverse. It is a novel of the change, as it states on the cover. And for some reason, he owns 2 copies of it. The second one is a little worse for wear. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I think maybe the dog got a hold of it. It was written in 2004. Dies the Fire is based in the late 90s, I believe 96, in the Utah, Idaho region. An EMP goes off, which takes out all electricity. Vehicles, tractors, planes, lights, even guns don't work, so it has thrown the world into an apocalypse, a state of chaos. Pretty much the only thing that still works is fire and steam, but it does work a little bit differently. It just kind of changed the physics of the world. And the book follows 2 main storylines. There's Mike Havel, who is a Marine and a pilot who just so happened to be in a plane when the EMP hit and he crashed in the wilderness with some people that he was transporting. And so they have to kind of find their way back to civilization, even though there's really not a civilization anymore. And they travel kind of like a nomad type caravan where they don't really have a set place to stay, but they're traveling to try and find a good place to settle down. They have to fight bandits, and there's other types of governments that have popped up over the course of the timeline that are just kind of dictators, so that they have to kind of work together to overcome these people. And the second storyline is Juniper... what's her last name? Mackenzie. She is a musician who was playing guitar in this bar whenever the EMP hit, and she's also a witch or a Wicca, so she kind of has a commune already, but there's no way to communicate with them because all communications are just gone. So she has a plot of land kind of out in the wilderness that they have to travel to, and just more and more people end up finding them and building their community, and it's just them trying to survive. Learning how to farm without machinery and having to actually have human labor to do this kind of stuff. It was a big learning curve for them. I really did enjoy this book overall. It's not one of my favorites like it is my husband's, even though I did ask him and he said he wouldn't rate it 5 stars. More, it's just a nostalgic piece from him growing up. I did rate this one 3.5 stars, and I just realized that this technically wasn't the first book I finished, but we'll talk about the other one in a minute. It is a little mid-paced. There is a lot of action, but there's just a lot that happens. It's a very long book, 573 pages. Took me about 2 weeks to finish it, and I think this is why I only finished 4 books this month, was because this one kind of just took a little bit longer, even though 2 that I finished were audiobooks. This was a very slow month for reading for me, but I've been very busy. April's also been pretty slow. I'm halfway through and I'm only a book and a half in. I don't know why I'm super weird whenever it comes to sequels and other books in a series. My husband has the first 5 of these, and I finish it and I'm like, meh, I'll get around to the rest of them later. But then One Dark Window, I immediately started the second one. So it just depends on the vibe for me, I guess. I actually have a tracker sheet in this journal that is all the series that I've started, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know why I won't finish a series. That's just the way I am. There's a few of these on here that I've put on that I haven't even started either. They're just ones that I would like to read or reread. I've only read The Hunger Games, but I would like to read the whole series. And I would eventually like to reread Twilight. I read it in high school and I'd like to read it again. And Divergent. I want to read those again. I think I only read the first Divergent though, honestly. I think I have both. I have the first two, only read the first one. So yeah, I will get around to reading the rest of those. It wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't the worst. And you're welcome, Shane, that I finally read the book you've been asking me to read for 10 years. Next on my list, which was technically first, that I missed that whenever we started talking, but it's fine. It was Fiends and Festivals. Fiends and Festivals is book 2 of the Weary Dragon Inn series that I reviewed back in February. It follows Bev again, where she finds a dog and tries to compete in the Pig's End Harvest Festival baking competition with her legendary rosemary bread. And of course, a lot of things go wrong during the festival. Livestock gets out, her garden gets destroyed, things are upturned, and nobody knows who's doing it. Again, this was an audiobook that I listened to on Spotify, and it's just something that I would throw on when I was cleaning or doing stuff around the house and just needed something to listen to. And I gave it 3 stars, as I have given all of the Weary Dragon Inn books that I've listened to so far. They're good, they're just average. They're just strictly average. And I may as well just talk about the 3rd book in the series here while we're at it, since I did listen to it in March as well. The 3rd one was Secrets Snowflakes. All of these books follow Bev and her new dog Biscuit. But in this one, it is almost the winter solstice, and she has a full inn of travelers whenever a snowstorm hits, and they all get snowed in together. And then Bev's good friends, the butchers, get a threat posted to their back door saying that if they don't give them this money, then they're going to expose their secrets to the queen's people, and they're going to be arrested or something. So instead of the law enforcement actually helping, Bev again has to solve the mystery. This one wasn't as good as the other 2, mainly just because she was trapped in an inn for most of it, but it was a pretty decent read overall. Listen? Read or listen? Both? A listen read. I do really enjoy in these books learning more about Bev and the other characters as we progress through the stories. Even though S. Usher Evans just keeps alluding to things of Bev's past, there really hasn't been a lot of detail that's been given, and that's what keeps me coming back. I want to know who Bev was before she lost her memory and has her amnesia or whatever. So I will be continuing the series, even though I haven't started the 4th one yet. I currently do not have an audiobook that I'm listening to, but I will probably be starting it pretty soon. Again, this one was 3 stars, and overall it was just a decent book. Last but not least, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. I did an entire video about this book. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. It was dark. It was mysterious. It was just good. It was just good, damn it. If you want to hear my very detailed descriptions and get some spoilers, go ahead and go watch that video, but I will just give you a little quick rundown of it now. And yes, it is the winner for this month. I already know. One Dark Window is a dark gothic fantasy with a little bit of romance sprinkled in. I don't like to call it a romantasy because it's not the main focus of the book, and it is just kind of a B plot. So I'm not going to call it a romantasy because anytime I read a romantasy, I fucking hate it. The setting is in this kingdom called Blunder. 500 years ago, the Shepherd King worked together with the Spirit of the Wood to create Providence cards, which allow the people of Blunder to use and wield magic. Since the card's creation, people don't go to the Spirit of the Woods anymore, so the spirit has released a mist that encases the kingdom, and if you find yourself in the mist without a charm, which is a piece of like a dead animal, like there's horsehair braids or like a dog tooth or a crow's foot or something like that, then the mist drives you crazy and makes you run into it and you're never seen again. And people get a fever, which turns your veins black and bestows you a magic. Our main character is Elspeth Spindle. She had the fever when she was 9 and has lived with the contamination and degeneration for 11 years. But 11 years ago, whenever she touched one of these Providence cards, the being inside of it went into her brain. So she's living with this 500-year-old being in her head. It's a little wild. But the magic that this thing bestows to her is that she's able to see Providence cards. They emit a very soft light that she is able to see. Like the Maiden, for instance, is a light pink that she could tell if someone had it in their pocket. It doesn't have to like be physically out. She can see it inside a drawer or something. The light will emanate from there. So right in the very beginning, she gets confronted by some highwaymen who are trying to steal Providence cards. They find out that she's able to see the cards, so she gets roped into helping them collect the deck and unify it so that they can banish the mist. And that's the rest of the book, is them trying to collect the rest of the deck. I can't say anything else, it'll be spoilers, so go watch that video if you want to hear like my real thoughts about this book, other than the fact that I really enjoyed it. I think in that video I said that I gave it 4 stars, but whenever I was doing other stuff, I bumped it up to 5, especially after reading the second one, because I wanted to give it 4 stars. It wasn't as good, but I still really enjoyed it. I did immediately start the second one after this, and I have finished it. I could just talk about it now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about it for April. So you're just going to have to wait, and I might just do a full video on it as well. Haven't decided. The beginning of the second one was a little slow. It took me a little bit to get through, but then once I reached like the halfway point, I couldn't put it down. So that's just a little bit of a forewarning if you do read One Dark Window and you want to start Two Twisted Crowns and it's not quite the same in the beginning. Just give it some time. Give it some time. I will say it's a little difficult switching to the next one because there's like 3 POVs rather than just Elspeth's from the first one. So that took a little bit of getting used to. We did it. We talked about all the books that I read. And now, even though I already said it, the winner of March's book tournament is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Hooray! Let me put it in my thing. One Dark Window. Ta-da! I write like shit. Now I gotta print out another little thing and I can put it here. I'm out of ink, so I have to wait. I'm getting a new printer and stuff tomorrow, so I'll fill it in later. And so that concludes my books that I read in March. A little sorry it's taken me longer to get this one recorded than previous months, but you know, such is life, baby. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want to become, oh my god, I almost said become one of my imaginary friends. I haven't said that in a while. And subscribe for more bookish content, because I'm not going to be the real imaginary anymore. I am changing my name. I've figured it out. I'm working on my branding and stuff, and one of these days, everything's just going to be different here. But I appreciate you being here with me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And happy Easter if you celebrate. It is Easter weekend. And just remember that. I keep forgetting about Easter. Okie dokie, bye!